Welcome back. Today I'm going to be putting some of my chicken eggs into my new incubators. So I can turn this into this. I have an old incubator that started to not turn the eggs properly. So I got two new ones. The other one had racks that would tilt back and forth and it kept getting stuck. So I went ahead and got this one that rotates and rolls the eggs. And then this one has rollers, kind of like a hot dog machine you'd see in one of the gas stations. And we'll see if they work better than the last one. All right, first thing, I set up my incubators using the instructions they came with. They're pretty straightforward. You're supposed to have them set up and running for 24 hours or so the temperature and humidity get stabilized. And to start off chicken eggs, the temperature usually has to be around 99.5, and then the humidity you want around 50 to 55%. You need fertilized eggs that are as clean as possible. You don't want to wash them though, because they have a protective coating called bloom, and it helps protect them from bacteria. And if you wash it off, you'll end up with a bunch of rotten eggs. You also want to use fresh eggs. You can save them until you have enough, but don't use them if they're more than a week old. You also want to make sure that they're not cracked or weird shape. I keep mine in the basement because they need to be kept between 55 to 60 degrees. And it's also best to keep them pointed and down. And that's it. Now we just need to keep an eye on them and make sure that the water bottles stay filled for the humidity. On day 7, I'll be back to candle them and we'll see if we can see them starting to develop. So we are day 7, so it's time to candle our eggs. Candling is when we shine a bright light through the shell to check the embryo's development. It's like a little ultrasound for chickens. You want to candle your eggs around the 7 to 10 day mark to make sure that they're developing. If they're not, you can take them out of the incubator because they will start to decompose and possibly explode into a nasty mess. You just need a bright light. Most incubators have one built in, or you can buy a fancy one, or even just a bright flashlight. You just need something bright enough you can see inside the shell. So this first egg is pretty clear. Nothing's developing, so most likely this egg wasn't fertile. We can go ahead and remove it. If you're at day 7, you could leave it in and check it in a couple days, but most likely it's a dud. This next egg, you can see it started to develop, but there is no movement and a red line across the egg. This means the embryo has stopped developing and that the red line is the blood pooling in the egg. That one is done and needs to come out. If there is no line and no movement, you can recheck it again in a couple days, and if there is still no movement, go ahead and remove it. So this egg is doing great. You can see the veins starting to form, and that little dark spot swimming around is the healthy developing embryo. Now, some eggs with darker shells are harder to see through. You probably won't be able to see any movement, but you can usually make out the air pocket in the egg. It's a distinctive clear part at the bottom of the egg. It might be very small. If it's there, it's a good sign that the egg is developing. You don't want to disturb your eggs too much, but it is a good idea to check them again at about day 14 to make sure your eggs are still good. Then we just have to wait for hatching day. Day 21, we've got our first peeps. All right, now that everybody's hatched, we've brought them in here to our brooder, which is a repurposed cage. We have the heat lamp on top and an angle, that way if they want to get out of the heat, they can. We have the little food and water dishes that came with the incubators. Once they start to get more feathers, we can take them out to the coop. If you found this helpful or you have any questions, please like, subscribe, follow along with these guys, see them grow up, and we will see you later.